Alright, quick little update video. I'm going to be taking this TAC-41, which is currently it's got one of the prototype Pegasus hop units in. I'm going to be taking that, changing the hop unit over. So this is currently equipped with an edgy SAP. I like it, however, I am a WASP fan, and I'm going to be changing that over and doing some work on that assembly at the same time. So might be a longish video, see where we get. So this currently is latest TAC, of which I'm going to tear down. I don't think there's anything else more to say about it. All right, let's get stuck in. So this thing shoots absolutely amazing as it is, absolutely fantastic. However, it does have a prototype Pegasus unit in, which is plain silver, and I'd like to change it. Again, notice that these are very loose and we don't have to swing off them to undo them. Ready for the BBs to come out? There we go. I do hate it when it does that.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Lovely longbow 4/8. So, I just did this build before Shift Your Riff. There's a bit I get asked about a lot that I need to cover. So let's take the wheel off. If you didn't know, you can just undo the center screw and take the entire assembly off, keeping the hop set as it is. Fixing screws. Always use, there are 2 screws that come with the Medusa. 2 screws. You need the shortest one when you are using a GBB or the Pegasus hop unit. Short screw. Long screw only for the polycarbonate. Okay, keep that in mind. Short screw for the GBB, long screw into the polycarbonate blue hop unit. Right, let's get this stripped out. All right. Right, there we are. There we go. And remember our little red friend here, the wee spacer. Make sure your wee spacer does not get lost. Alright, we're going to keep all this handy. 2 spacers, our shim, and there is our hop unit. Right, so we'll get the end off first. Alright, there we go. And then we have our underneath screw in here. I'm going to take that all the way out, because we're going to swap that into the other body. There is our hop unit, and out we go. There is an O-ring in the front. We're going to leave that one in because I have a fresh O-ring to go in this one. Bit of a discussion going on at the moment regards to these O-rings that sit. With some bookings, you needed that O-ring just to sort of sit in front of. We stopped using that now. I've discontinued it from the kit because the feedback from the general public was that it wasn't needed. Rarely did that O-ring actually get used in most of the kits, so we've now phased that out. All right, so again, just to build from afresh, there is our O-ring goes in there. That is the big O-ring. Small O-ring no longer included in the Pegasus kit. We do not need anymore. All right, phased out. We've got our hop unit there. Barrel booking, I think this is a Flamingo 60. In we go. And again, the way that we build this is we just line it up, make sure it's lined up perfectly, and then literally just pushing on the booking, pulling on the barrel, in it goes. That's it, job done. Right, next important step, rear section goes on next. Right, I'm not putting the underneath screw in just yet. Goes in there. Okay, that's in, and then just nip that up. All right, that's nipped up. Okay, next thing, grub screw underneath into what we technically call Andy's hole. Little nip on that, not too much. Next step, nub. Nub in and eyeball, right? Eyeball the patch. There we go. Right. Nubs in, quick eyeball. Perfect. Right, that's in, all nipped up. Next, in with you, in with the little wee clip. Right, and then we need our spacer shim. All right, there we go. Notice it's in. Push that up so it's home. All right, and then we will put the little screw in the base. All right, there we go. Next, let's get our there we are. Right, so remember what I said? Short. Okay, if you put the long one in and tighten it down, you will knacker the hop unit up. You'll break it, damage the threads and break the hop unit, and then you'll be upset. Again, when it comes to it, just nip. All right, spin our adjustment wheel on. That should do as a base. All right, and then our unit over the end. Right about now, what I would do before I go ahead and do the piston is I'll rebuild this and I'll do a quick compression check and make sure that we've got a nice seal. All right, and then after that, then we'll move on to the piston change. Right, loose, firm, that'll do. Loose, that's it. We are not tightening a Scania wheel nut. All right, we just need a nice bit of balanced torque. That's it. All right, quick compression check. Fantastic. So, piston wise, got to get it out first. Right, I always struggle with these because I don't have a bloody key for it. So, what I tend to do is just have an Allen bolt. I just put it in a couple of turns, grab my adjuster and pull it out like that. That's it. There we are. Just put the suppressor back on so that that does not get damaged because I'm a bit of a clumsy dick. So what we got? There we go. Okay, and right, I'm not going to bore you with the cleaning part, but I'm now going to start cleaning all this up. So what am I getting in my kit? What do I get? Apart from repetitive strain injury from undoing the container. Lovely. Right, so spring guide, we're going to need that. I know from my other build, which is nigh identical. We've got our different weights in here. All right, let's go. Need the full fat on this build. Well packed. Okay. Body. Guide. And then our kit. All right, so we've got our main body. We're going to need that. We've got our rings, our guide rings. There is an O-ring, which I'd imagine is for this here. That looks good. Let's try. Yeah, just needs a bit of oil in there, I think, to get that bit of lube. And then we have our, when we say massage in the cup, generally people just get these and throw them in and expect them to seal and work, and sometimes they do. That's fine, but for me, it just needs a bit of TLC. All right then. All right. Large air brake is what's going in there. Next, that's going to be taking the guide. I'm just checking the guide for orientation, make sure that's all right. No, that's okay. Screw the guide on. So yeah, that's not going to go on the wrong way. On it goes. Again, hand tight. All right, no tools involved. Guide ring. Again, the rear guide ring can only go on one way. Right, can't go on that way because it is recessed in. Sits like that. Okay, make sure that that sits square. There we go. Nice and tight. And then on with built. Job done. Keep saying job done. But it is. It doesn't get much simpler than that. It just goes together. It's actually foolproof. And I think this is the modified rear guide as well, from what I understand, which gives us a bit of compatibility with other, I think it's the newer, I'm not sure actually. All right then, grease or silicone oil as it would be. All right, so O-ring onto there, make sure it's completely in the groove, and then as regards to installation, light bit of silicone oil inside the cylinder, in on an angle, and then just make sure it's still there. We can see it there. All right, and I'm just going to use the spring to send that home. There we are. Regards to our cup, likes a little massage, doesn't it? All right, so I'm using a light silicone oil, and I'm just going to massage that in. All right, and then in that goes. Again, I'm not drowning it in oil or grease, and we're going to reuse that. That is our Sniper Mechanics GBB head. There we are. Just nip this up. There we go. Lovely. Right. In and test fire time. Upside down and then in with, there we go. Make sure that's all the way in. Yeah, sat flush in there. Okay. See if we've got a seal. Perfect. Test fire time. All right, so just had a quick check with that. A little bit hot. I'm going to have to downgrade the spring in it now. Yeah, 2.53 joules. Right, so that's gone way up. So definitely time to drop the spring. I want to aim for about 2.2, 2.25 ideally. So say we'll drop that spring out, get it changed, give it another chrono. Flight path, absolutely fantastic. Can't fault it. Literally pinging lasers. All right, just had a little chrono. Been a bit of a messing around with the spring sizes. But basically that is 0.45s, 340, 339.4 minimum, 343.1 max, average of 341.1. Which it's stable and it's getting better. However, I'm going to need to turn it down again. Oh my word. 2.43 joules now, so time to take that. I'm out of springs. Literally out of springs. I've got springs here that would usually take me to 2.3 joules that are now higher, and I've got that one, that's a 3 joule spring, that's not going in. And then this one here is a 1.5 joule, which is actually doing 1.5. So yeah, not skirmishable. I'm gonna have to get some new springs ordered from Empire and then continue my testing. All right, so we tried. Yeah, so overall, replaced the SAP with the WASP, changed the hop unit from the Proto. This was one of the first ones we had made. This is a couple of years old now. It's done well. Done really well, but it's now been retired, so this can go in my little box of probably invention memories for later on. And yeah, I think next thing to do is get a spring from Empire and get a game organized so I can actually start enjoying these beautiful builds. You know, this thing is accurate. I just can't game with it until I brought the power down. All right, thanks very much. Any questions, hit me up in the comments. I will do what I can to answer them. Thank you.